This is Tyson McGuffin. Welcome to the McGuffin Show. We are on episode 14 here. You are watching the best podcast in pickleball. A couple things we're going to be talking about is Newport Beach PPA, Vanguard Power, camps, YouTube stuff, UFC, Seattle Kraken, US Open, Franklin Ball in US Open, which was a complete malo, some tips for coaches, and some other fun stuff. Kyle McKenzie here with me. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. What's going on?
Living the dream, you know. Living the dream. Just got back from Kansas City. I had you there with me. I'm not gonna lie, there's not a whole lot going on in Kansas City.
That's all right.
It is dark.
We weren't there too long.
God, it's dark. And what is going on with that airport? The airport looks like a prison.
It looks like a, like the airport in tiny Port Angeles, Washington, where I grew up. So
oh my God.
It was pretty different. First time flying in there. We travel all over, but
I want to know,
for a city that big, it just seemed different.
Do the Chiefs fly out of there?
All private stuff. All private jets, Tyson.
There's just no way they fly out of there. But
the Chicken and Pickle was a great facility, and that's the original one there, I believe.
Yeah,
I believe that's the original.
Yeah, 4 indoor courts, 4 outdoor courts. Had a great time. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn those notifications on. We are posting podcasts and posting instructional videos a couple times a month. So make sure you follow the McGuffin Pickleball Club. So let's see here. First thing, obviously going back a couple weeks, if not a month. When was the Newport Beach PPA? Let me check my.
I know it's funny. We travel so much; it all kind of strings together after a while.
So it's about a month away. So Newport Beach PPA, PPA ran a great tournament. Pat, Charlotte. And let's see who else. Pat, Charlotte, and there's somebody else that also helps out. Patty do a great job there at the Newport Beach Club. They help organize and manage the tournaments, also help with all the social events. So they have done a great job with keeping their members happy. And I believe they have a membership of 700 pickleball members.
I know it's pretty high. It seems like they're really embracing pickleball, looking to do a lot more in that area. So great. We love to see it.
I think they're even having their own tournament series. And I think I just heard Kyle's phone ding, and that means that he's making money.
Turn that down. Turn that down. Da-ding, da-ding.
Da-ding, da-ding. But they just resurfaced, they just resurfaced 6 more courts. I don't know how many permanent courts they have, but that whole back section now is all pickle. Seems like the front section of the club there is all tennis. So it looks like they are rocking and rolling. The tournament went well. It was a beautiful weekend in Newport Beach. Always love going to Orange County. I ended up taking silver with Rye, and then played mixed doubles with Irina Tereshchenko. We had a couple decent wins. We ended up taking 5th or 6th, lost to the Newmans. The Newmans did their usual spiel and grinded us to death. That's a prime example of good defense is good offense.
They do that as well as anybody.
Holy snipes. The question is, what does it take to put a stinking ball away? Kyle, how deflating is that? My, oh my, you're hitting overhead after overhead.
Well, I mean, when you have an audience and you're playing, you're in control, I think everybody has that little seed of doubt. Nobody wants to miss an overhead or miss an easy smash.
Right.
But when the ball keeps coming back, you have no choice but to go for a little more, take a little more risk. And it's, like you said, it's absolutely deflating. That's really the best word to describe it. Yeah. When they're able to neutralize, after 3 or 4 smashes and still take the point from you. So it takes a high degree of mental toughness in addition to a lot of skills to beat the Newmans.
What would you do in that scenario, just for a fun little tip for the viewers here? So you have your opponents back at the baseline. You're trying to put away overheads. Maybe that hasn't worked. What's something else you could go to that?
Well,
could,
I think the way the game's going, especially with the Franklin ball and with courts being bigger, you know, it's a shot I've never really employed that much, but I think occasionally you've got to be willing to dump one of the volleys short, not necessarily just expecting to hit it for a winner, but if you can get them moving not just laterally but up and down, it'll often open up a smash where now maybe they're standing in mid-court rather than all the way back at the baseline. Gives you a better chance at putting the ball away.
I think you were spot on. Something I use against Ben, something I use more so in singles is if they're back playing cat and mouse and I'm, you know, hitting a fourth or a sixth and I'm trying to push them around. Once I feel like I'm kind of in control and they drop again, maybe they're off their back foot or they're leaning back or they're off balance, then I can use that little dumpy teardrop. Teardrop.
Well, like I said, you know, with the Dura, with faster conditions, it's a shot that I haven't spent a lot of time practicing just because you haven't really needed it that much. But with the defense getting better, you have to win.
There's going to be value in that.
More complex patterns with more variety, and I think that's one we're going to see be needed in the pro game going forward. Much
more complex patterns, that's for sure. Ended up getting beat up by the Newmans, but overall, great tournament. Took silver with Rye and then fifth or sixth with Irina. We had a match point against Deckel and Matt Wright. It was 10-9, game 3 in the winner's bracket semi. And let's see, what happened? Actually, no. We had 2 match points. The first match point, Rye dropped. I came in. Deckel didn't float a fourth, but it definitely was in my wheelhouse. And I did not hit it well enough.
Oh, no.
I went to poach, high backhand. I'm trying to get that sucker down. And was not able to put it away. And then 10-9-2. This was the crazy one. 10-9-2. Rye and Deckel are having a hand speed battle. Deckel is losing the hand speed battle and he's falling back and he's in transition. Rye comes again. Deckel somehow slides, finds a forehand, and just murders the ball. And Riley is in full control. Riley's in a much better position. Riley's at the kitchen line. You know, Deckel's in transition. Like, the chances of Rye winning that hand speed battle is very, very high.
For sure.
And, Deckel, you know, slid, got a little space, spanked a forehand, and was able to win that point. Rye ended up missing a volley wide, and then they slowly climbed back in. And then we got some revenge, and we ended up beating him in the bronze, beat him in 3. But it's always good to get a win over Deck and Wright.
That's a tough team. That's a tough team. Yeah, it's a good matchup between you guys and them for sure.
Yeah, clubby
It's interesting how you recall that. You know, coming from a poker background, one of the things within poker is that they say is you don't remember the hands that you win to win money, but you always remember your bad beats are the ones that you lose. Yeah, it's kind of funny how you remember all the match point opportunities that you don't convert, but probably would have no idea on all the ones that you win. Right?
That's so true. That is so true. And you were in Newport?
You were not. Yeah, not that one for me. I was just at home checking out as much live stream as I could.
Oh, yeah. The typical junkie that's not playing a tournament, that's watching live stream.
We talked about that.
I do the same thing. I'm not, whether it's an APP or, you know, or a 25K that nobody knows about, I will still check in.
Doesn't matter. Give me more content.
Give me more
content.
Yeah, it's too funny.
Are you the person that isn't very confident with your game? You're not confident under pressure. Maybe you're a little insecure with showing up to rec play. Maybe you have a hard time performing at your best, whether it's rec play or it's tournament play. You should check out Tyson McGuffin Signature PB Camp. We offer a wide range of fundamentals, but I guarantee after either 1 or 2 days at our camps, you will feel much more confident. Whether you're in rec play, whether you're in tournament play, you'll be ready to go out there and kick some butt.
And then after the Newport Beach tournament, I taught a camp in Newport on that Monday, Tuesday. We had 32 campers. I had Callie Smith, Leah Jansen, and Jay Divier helping me out. Probably the highlight of the camp was Nick Bollettieri was actually at the Newport Beach Club.
Very cool.
And one of his students, Sean Bollettieri, is the director at the Newport Beach Tennis and Pickleball Club. Had Nick there. They run a high performance junior program. Actually, Mike Tyson's daughter is in the high performance junior program. Kind of cool. But so Nick was there giving out speeches that day, and Nick actually came over to the back pickleball courts, and we had 8 courts going, and he gave my campers a little 5-minute speech. So pretty cool.
Yeah,
very cool. I mean,
little bonus.
Yeah, Nick Bollettieri coached Agassi, Serena Williams, Venus. I'm sure that list goes on, but he is the main face at IMG, or at least for the tennis department.
Yeah.
But
household name within the tennis world as a coach. So if you go to a TM camp, you never know what surprises.
You never know, especially in Newport. Yeah, actually, Pat was telling me that at like a previous pickleball social, Mike Tyson was walking around and everybody got to meet Mike, and
cool.
Pretty cool. But
That's awesome.
if you guys have not checked out Mike Tyson's podcast, it's a little R-rated, but it is on. You can find his podcast on his Instagram page. It's called Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson, and there's some THC being blown during his podcast, and he tends to have boxers and athletes and celebrities on there. Anyhow, they just have a good time. It's
pretty relaxed
It
vibe.
is very relaxed.
Very relaxed.
Oh yeah. And then as I was teaching a camp in Newport, having a great time, Kyle was in Orlando. Kyle,
Somebody's got to hold down the fort.
The fort, man. How was Orlando?
Yeah, it was great. So we ran 2 back-to-back camps at the Clear One Sports Center, ran by Henry Winardo, really high-level pickleball player and former very, very high-ranked badminton guy.
I just have one little comment.
Yeah,
His backhand overhead is bigger than anybody's forehand overhead.
And it's scary. I've only played a few rec games against him, but feeling the ball coming off the paddle, the misdirection, he's one of the most difficult people to feel comfortable playing against. Really a stud. So
he will make your shorts fall down to your ankles
put you in
very
the pretzel.
quickly. He will put you in the pretzel. You will feel very unathletic playing him.
But no, nice guy, stud. So yeah, he was very welcoming. We ran 2 back-to-back camps there. It happened to coincide with my family's spring break, so we did Disney World a little bit before, a little bit after. So it was a fun family trip for me.
Awesome. That's cool. So I've been using the Vanguard Power, the Vanguard Selkirk Power for the last about the last month now. Over quarantine, I was the practice dummy, and they put probably 6 different prototypes in my hand, and we finally found the one that made sense. I felt like it was plenty forgiving, gave me good spin, but that little added 20% of pop that I needed for counter punching, for having a bit more pop on the serve, on the drive, getting some more depth in singles. There was 2 main pieces in my game that I felt like I was missing: the big clubby counterpunch, and then some more depth on the return in singles. And I'm not gonna lie, over the last month, I definitely feel like I've been getting better depth. I've been able to punch the volley down a bit more, get some easier stick, and anyhow, so yeah, I've been using it for the last month. I love the paddle over quarantine. Like I said, we went through 6 different prototypes. We finally found the paddle that made sense. But my idea with the Vanguard Power was to kind of have one-stop shopping, where not only did you have some pop, but it had a nice big hitting zone. It wasn't too stiff. The Invicta Vanguard Power has been out for about 3 months. I know Radley's Mach 6 has been out a little longer. But I threw the Vanguard Power in Kyle's hands a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I was impressed. And it's interesting for for people just to think from your perspective. I mean, you've had so much success in just putting balls in play, being consistent. I think with the way the game's going, you definitely sense that you needed a little bit more power, but finding that right balance is obviously important. You have a certain level of expectation for yourself every time you go into these tournaments with consistency. But one thing I was impressed with was, obviously there's going to be less feel in any power paddle compared to a more soft forgiving paddle, but the grab and the ability to feel the spin on the paddle, I think is really, really top notch for a paddle in that power category.
Are you going to be making the switch? Because I know at the U.S. Open you were using your amped.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I had enough touches in, and I wasn't going to get the paddle early enough to feel confident with it. I mean, definitely when I was down there, we'll talk more about it, but Franklin ball in Naples, you definitely want a little bit more oomph and not rely on just your strength alone. So it looks like I will probably go that direction. Like I said, I just want to spend a couple of weeks drilling with it just to make sure I'm comfortable with it before I enter a tournament.
Yeah. And for the viewers out there, if you are currently using a Vanguard Power and you feel like there's a rattlesnake in your paddle,
Maraca.
Oh yeah, that's a Selkirk. So if it is rattling, do know that this is just a defect for the first batch.
Gotcha.
There's also previously been a paint defect with the Vanguard Hybrid, and I believe with the Vanguard Power as well, that is going to be fixed. So once they get their next batch in, I was just talking to Rob Barnes. They're going to be using a different filler for the Vanguard Power that will enable the paddle to be concrete. It's not going to break down. The filler that they're using right now is too thin. And so with that being said, I'm not going to lie. After 45 minutes of using a brand new Vanguard Power, it sounds like there's stuff moving around in the paddle, and there very much is. It does not affect the hitting zone. It does not affect the power. It doesn't affect the paddle at all. But if you're paying $199, obviously there's probably shouldn't be stuff rattling around in your paddle. But Selkirk is gonna fix that. So just be aware that if you're worried about the sound, I've been using the paddle for the last month. It's totally fine. Yes, the sound's kind of a pain in the ass, but it will all be fixed.
So is the U.S. Open the first time that you used the Power version, or was there another one?
I used it 2 weeks before the Newport PPA, and
gotcha.
got comfortable with it, and then used it there. I mean, one thing that I truly like is that I don't have to second guess my soft game. I don't have to second guess, playing defense in transition. I can still play good defense. And what's nice too is that, with my amp, I had a hard time swinging or like closing or being aggressive in transition. And I had a hard time poaching on my backhand side with the amped in transition because I just couldn't do enough with it.
Yeah.
So it's nice with the Vanguard Power. I can swing a bit more. I can trust my backhand. Ding. I can trust my backhand. In that disconnect pattern. When I'm looking to poach. So I think it's just nice to be able to swing free and trust it. Not have something that's overly soft.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, to be able to bring some offense sometimes when you're just slightly out of position, or a little off the kitchen line, adds more variety, makes your opponents much more uncomfortable. So. Yeah, again, with the way the game's going, just like we talked about, you have to win in a more complex manner or have a little bit more variety. I think this will help a lot of higher level players, all levels really, but definitely that higher level with the game getting more aggressive.
Yeah, but if I could let's talk about paddles real quick. If I could classify two different, let's say we have two categories. The first category is super poppy, and the second category is mid poppy. I would say first category. Gearbox GX5, the Pro Connects, Engage, Electrum, obviously not as soft, but just clubbier in hell.
For sure.
Category 2 is like Franklin and Franklin Paddle Tech, the new Vanguard Power. What else is in there? I think and then let's say category 3.
Maybe the Onyx, the Premier doesn't
have
that
quite
a bit of pop.
I've heard that's pretty hot.
It might be up in the top category.
I think so. I think so.
Really, the ball sounds off the paddle. It sounds
it's pretty
like
thin too.
The exit velocity is pretty big.
Yeah, and I think I mean the 13mm Franklin could be in that first category, but I know the 16 obviously is a little thicker.
Yeah, more grabbier than just power alone.
Yeah. But for Rafa Hewitt, played with him this morning. He used to use a Pro Connects, and I should label the paddle. Do you know what Pro Connects paddle he used? Was it like the Ovation or?
Yeah, I don't know the names. I know the shapes, right? So I think
it was the
ones he's
shape.
using.
The pink teardrop.
Yep.
Anyhow, so he had been using that for about 6 months. He just got sponsored by Head, and so he was using the Radical Pro this morning. And I'm not gonna lie, the Pro Connects gives him like an extra 10% of power.
The exit velocity is a distinct difference with that thing.
I think he's probably his soft game and transition defense is probably better with that head paddle.
Yep.
But like the serve, the drive, the punch when he's off his back foot and he's just bailing out and swinging and like winning hand speed battles, he cannot do that with the head.
Not to the same level.
Sure,
I know he
sure.
told me switching to head, he's really liked his ability to reset now.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just lose a little bit on that counter punching.
For sure.
Yeah, it's always a trade off. Right?
Yeah, no, it's
What
true.
are you looking for?
It's true. If any of the viewers watched Masvidal and Usman in that UFC fight, it's a big right hand.
Scary knockout.
I mean, and Usman is a bad man. Oh my gosh.
I don't know how you feel. I like Usman a lot because
you know what? I didn't used to like him, but the guy. I mean, how do you not respect that?
I mean,
The guy works his ass off.
being somebody who's a tactician in whatever I do, I just feel like he's very capable of adjusting his style to who he's fighting. He seems like a very calculated man and fun guy to watch.
Yeah,
great matchup.
The very first fight that he had against Usman, it was on like 1 week's notice because somebody else pulled out, and so Usman obviously had to lose like 25 pounds in like a week, and so for that fight, Usman like drained the tank the first round and a half because he obviously knew that with only a week's notice or like a week's camp, he wasn't going to have the cardio
For sure.
So he tried to go all out in like a round and a half, did knock him out, and then Usman just kind of grappled him and like put him against the fence. And so this time, like everybody had talked a bunch of crap saying that Usman was just going to wrestle him down and that Masvidal was going to beat him on his feet. And why I like Usman is because he took the approach of saying, you know what, screw you. I'm going to beat this guy on my feet.
Right.
I don't care.
Wanted to send a message as much as win. Yeah.
You know what's cool about Masvidal is that he was first founded like in the streets of Miami, and
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, and there was like this
used
bare
to fight in those low-class rings.
Kimbo Slice.
Yeah.
There was like this bare knuckle. It wasn't an organization. It was like in somebody's backyard. But Kimbo Slice was like the referee, and Masvidal won like 5 fights in a row against like Masvidal was like 140. He's fighting guys at like 250. And
What a brawler.
He's beating these guys bare knuckle fights in somebody's backyard in Miami, and then he ends up getting a contract with like Bellator or something like that. But anyhow, back to Usman. Everybody had talked a bunch of trash and said that he wasn't going to beat Masvidal on his feet, and he didn't shoot once, and that right hand was just so clean. I'm like, I haven't seen a cleaner right hand, and it was a missile. I mean, literally, like the body rotation and just how he got that right hip around and
everything comes together
Oh
clean.
my
You gotta have
gosh.
perfect timing there. Perfect timing.
Good.
Right?
It was good. It was pretty sweet too. That card. There was a 1,000,003 pay-per-view buys, and there was 3 title fights, which hasn't happened
On the same card?
Yeah, on the
Wow.
same card. It was all back to back. Rose Namajunas ended up beating Zhang Weili, she won that, and then I can't remember what the other fights were, but there's this guy named Chris Wildman. It was so sad. I don't know if you watched it, but
I didn't.
I'm pretty sure he had some like minor fractures in his shin, and he kicked. So he was fighting Uriah Hall. It was like a legend fight. Like both guys are like in their late 30s. They've been fighting.
I've seen Uriah.
Yeah,
fight
yeah,
a
yeah.
bunch of times,
They've been with UFC for like 15 years, and so. The fight lasted like 20 minutes, or the fight lasted like 20 seconds. Chris Wildman ended up like kicking him in the shin, and when he kicked him in the shin, literally, I haven't seen this in so long.
No,
I'm not
one of those. Oh, those are hard.
Hard
to
literally,
watch.
dude, like his foot wrapped. It's like he kicked him and broke here. His foot wrapped, like literally. I've never seen somebody break their leg while kicking somebody, and then seeing his foot wrap around the guy's leg, and then he like stood back to like stabilize, and when he like took a step back,
it's just
oh
wobbly.
my
Oh,
god,
gosh.
my gosh,
It's like nails on a chalkboard.
so
It's
sad.
tough to watch.
It was so sad.
Yeah.
No, it was brutal. But and I'm not gonna lie, I paid $60, and every single fight ended in the first round. It was crazy. It was like,
like, what the
oh my
heck?
god,
I want a rebate.
It was like
Come
a
on.
45-minute pay-per-view thing. Usually it lasts like 4.5 hours.
Yeah, that's right. It's tough to know.
Yeah,
Tough
and there
to
was
know how
3
long it's
title
gonna be.
fights, all to go 5 rounds. And it was all first round.
Everybody came out swinging, Tyson.
Came out swinging, baby.
Well, and, you know, we're
Came
talking
out
about Masvidal with his, you know, obviously humble beginnings in a bare-knuckle backyard ring. But prize money, you were mentioning prize money. What did he get just for showing up? You're saying it was a
pull that up
pretty big figure.
Yeah.
I think I was watching the NCAA tournament one year, and one of the players just came down weird and kind of same thing. His shin just kind of buckled, and his foot and leg just kind of went in half, and such an unnatural thing to see. It's hard to watch.
Yeah. Okay, so pretty sweet. So the fight was in Jacksonville, and they actually had a full house. So it was the first time. It was the first sporting event, I think, in the last year and a half where they packed the house.
Right, with COVID and everything.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So they're actually going to run a good majority of their UFC events in Florida because Florida doesn't give a you know what. They don't care. Florida, let the old timers die. Okay?
Florida or Idaho, right?
But yeah, so there was 15,269 people in attendance. 3 million was made at the gate. Let's see. So Usman walked away with 700,000, and Masvidal walked away with 530,000. Boom. That's
not bad for a
it's not
5 minute bit of work.
It's not too bad at all. Yeah, some good money. It just so you guys are aware, like the pre-fights. What's that called? The preliminary. Yeah.
Okay.
The so like the people that are not on the main card, like the lowest made 14 grand.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they still have to pay their dues
like,
a little bit.
But it's like 14 to like 60 grand.
Okay.
So yeah, if you're on the preliminary card, 10 to 60 grand. If you're on the main card, lowest was 130, the highest was 700. So it's good money.
Yeah. Pickleball's got a ways to go. Right?
Check it up. Guess how much I made for the U.S. Open, for God's sakes. And granted, when I saw the figure, and I'm like looking at my legs, and I'm looking at how much I'm sweating, and literally like I died on that court. Played 7 matches. Who knows how many steps I had.
Literally hurled on the court, right?
I was in full body cramps. I was in the beginning stage of a heat stroke against Zane. Kyle saw it. I definitely puked on center court. Sorry, Chris and Terry. I got 1,500 for gosh sakes, and I died out there. Kyle saw me. I basically died. Okay, I mean, for God's sakes, 10-6 game 3 against Zane, and I like start seeing stars. My vision starts to get blurry. I've already sweated through God knows how many shirts, and
you called the timeout.
The time. Yeah. Well, I felt like there was a demon in my stomach. Like my stomach like turned on me, and I'm like, oh no, this is not good. There's a bunch of people here. Do not embarrass yourself, Tyson. And so I called the timeout very discreetly, jumped over the sponsor banner, and puked in a corner. And then I'm pretty sure, I'm not going to lie, I didn't yell, but I said loudly to one of the staff that was looking at me. I said, hey, sir, I need a garbage can. He's looking at a garbage can, and he's like, what? He's like freaking out. And I'm like, sir, I need you to go grab that garbage can, or else I will puke everywhere. I was a hurting puppy. But got it all out. Got my act together, came back in there. I don't think I served it out right away. I think Zane got a side out.
Yeah, I think it was side out,
yeah,
and then you took care of business. But
But
no, the quality after you threw up those 3 or 4 points, you didn't give much away. It was pretty high level.
Oh my gosh. But no, the fights were great.
Tyson McGuffin here. Mother's Day's coming up. Special day out of the year. I know I'm going to be taking care of the girls in my life, mother-in-law, mom, and wife. If you want me to put together something special for your significant other or maybe your mom, let your boy know, and I will keep it PG rated.
Also, too, the Seattle Kraken.
Look out.
The logo is baller. Whoever made that logo, kudos to you. The logo is stellar. And
like I was saying, I think the name's pretty awesome too. The Kraken, I love that.
The name is sweet. The name is super sweet. I actually we go to the Spokane Chiefs games. That's like amateur, half-ass hockey, but it's very messy, and they They used to let them fight all the time. I feel like NHL now, or even semi-pro, like they're very stern on not fighting and stuff. But anyhow, it's always kind of fun to go and watch. There's always a bunch of rednecks in Spokane that make a bunch of noise. You know,
got a couple drinks.
A couple drinks in them, guts are out. Oh yeah.
No, I'm telling you, on my bucket list, I've actually never been to an NHL game, and I've heard from people it's really quite a spectacle to watch in person. There's so much energy there. So, gonna have to check out a Kraken game.
That's cool.
One of these summers. When Seattle losing the Sonics, years back, it's nice to get another sports franchise.
Very, very good call for sure. But yeah, the Seattle Kraken officially became the 32nd NHL team after a final payment of $650 million. Boom, pay up, baby, pay up. Signed, sealed, and delivered on what is a monumental day for hockey in the Pacific Northwest. The Seattle Kraken shared their thoughts on the meaning of today and what's next for the NHL's 32nd franchise team. That's cool. And it's cool for Seattle. Yeah. They're dying for another team.
Yeah, I think that with Amazon, with the way that area is growing, I think they can easily
for sure
support another pro franchise like that.
Yeah. On the sports train, Tampa Bay, I don't know how many players they have back, but I'm pretty sure it's a very large amount.
Their entire core unit, at least.
Yeah. It seems like everybody's taking a pay cut to get another ring so they can see Brady sling that trophy again.
Credit to them. I mean, NFL careers are not traditionally super long, so to take a little less money when you've got a short period of time to do your most earning, I mean,
who doesn't want to play with Brady?
Championship caliber mindset right there.
For sure. Did you see that Lombardi? What's it? The Lombardi Trophy. If you win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Did you see that trophy throw? Like during the parade?
Oh, I think they threw it like across.
Yeah. He threw it to a receiver.
Yeah,
it was way too funny. No, Brady was on a boat, and
it was on a boat.
And his teammates were hollering at him on the boat, like behind him there. And it was kind of funny. I actually heard a Brady interview. His daughter was saying, "No, Daddy,
Don't
no."
do it.
Yeah. And I think Tom obviously had a couple of drinky poos in him and slung that trophy
to the other boat.
It was a dime.
Boat
It was spot on in the guy's hands. And then there's also a funny clip of Tom like getting off of the boat and getting on dry land and walking and like stumbling.
He's wobbling
around.
a little bit.
Yeah, trying to find his balance. But
It'll be a team to watch next year. Can they do it? Can they go 2 for 2?
Yeah, hopefully the Seahawks can get their act together. Okay, so YouTube stuff, kind of cool. Want to thank all of our viewers and thank everybody that has subscribed. We have 4,000 subscribers. Woo, woo, woo.
It's a lot and not very long. That's growing fast.
Had the YouTube stuff going for about 6 weeks now, so keep on subscribing. Tell your friends. I am trying to hold the I'm trying to hold the belt with my YouTube channel, meaning I want to be the main content guy that provides the best content with graphics, high quality with this man right here. As of now, obviously, Simone and Jordan and everybody else that have been doing it for a while have way more subscribers than I do. But watch out. Watch out.
Coming for you. Coming for that belt.
We're gonna come for that belt, baby. We're posting our next week's series this week. It's gonna be 3rd and 5th ball drop. Working on the graphics right now, and then we're gonna publish those.
This is probably like the meatiest topic of pickleball. You have to recognize when to drive and drop. Technique on the drop is very similar to technique on the dink. Drop would be your lower extremities are nice and quiet. I'm letting the ball come to me, but I'm letting the ball drop and come up. So I'm making contact at the apex. I'm giving myself plenty of time. So think about using more lift when you're out of position on your drop. After you've hit the drop, think about cues or think about what's the main tell that allows you to really gain real estate and get moving and be efficient in that transition zone so you can get up and get established. You're gonna have to start gauging ball trajectory, and that way you can gain distance much quicker. You can look at ball shape and then start making adjustments versus looking to see how pretty the drop is and waiting to see where your opponent makes contact.
Not gonna lie, it is very time consuming going through each video inputting details and notes, and being creative with graphics and stuff like that. So I want to thank my videographer Kevin, who's looking at me right now, who does a great job, and don't know what I would do without this man. So appreciate him. But
Appreciate you, Kevin.
Yeah. We're gonna be finishing out this 9-week series this week, like I just mentioned. We're gonna be posting 3rd and 5th ball drops. The week after is gonna be block volley. And then we're going to get into weeks 6 through 9. It's going to be building weapons. So if you guys are sick of all the soft stuff, do know that weeks 6 through 9, we're going to be bringing the offense.
That's when it really gets fun.
That's when it really gets fun. Okay, who cares about playing soft?
You got to build a base.
I want to pull the trigger.
Right? But when the game gets really fun,
premature ejaculation.
Those weapons.
That's right. Yeah. Find those weapons and cram it down their throat. Okay, nobody freaking dinks anymore. It's all about pure offense, baby. Okay, U.S. Open. It was hot.
It was hot.
It was muggy.
So it was my first U.S. Open. I think I brought 4 or 5 shirts for singles day. It only lasted me 2 matches. So I won my first 2 rounds. It was a sucking pond water, dripping like crazy. I had to use my U.S. Open shirt that they gave me for free in the goodie bag to actually play Jay de Villiers in
legendary.
the 3rd round.
That is legendary.
I'm like, all right, don't sweat too much. This is your last shirt, buddy.
Control your sweating. Okay?
So no, obviously a learning experience for me. I thought I came prepared enough. Clearly not. That humidity is definitely an animal. So if you ever play the U.S. Open and you're from the West Coast, you're not used to the humidity, bring a lot of shirts. That's my best advice.
Bring a lot of shirts and get there early.
Yeah. Get used to it. Get used to the way the ball's playing. Obviously, Franklin ball, already the softer ball between it and the Duraball, and then with the conditions being hot and humid, it just makes that softness more enhanced. So what did you think about the way it played, Tyson, and the conditions there?
Yeah. I think the conditions weren't any different from the previous years. That's for sure. It's the same suffocating feeling. You know, I always say this: if you can get a medal at the U.S. Open, you are one tough son of a gun, because it is a different type of skill set.
You're
playing. Right. You're not even playing the ball. You're playing the conditions, right? It's hot. It's humid. You know, the wind's swirly. Not gonna lie, the back courts where we played, those little back batches, I felt like those played pretty gritty. Mm-hmm. But previously, in other years, you would play on a wide variety of courts. I'm not gonna lie, the batch that was right by Stadium Court, I don't know because I didn't play on them this year, but they used to be very slippery. And anyhow, so it just seemed like previous years, every court played a little different. So not only are you playing the conditions, but freaking you have courts that are slippery. You have Stadium Court that's gritty, you know?
Right. So it depends on which court you get assigned,
yeah. So
in addition to the player.
I think somebody complained because this year they were very selective about where to put the pros, and it seemed like they kind of put
all
us
in certain
on courts 40
areas.
Through 58.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah, good little tournament. You know, I had the same routine. Got in Tuesday night, got in about 20 games of singles from Wednesday through Friday against Frank Anthony, who's
kind of a perfect training partner for that. Those conditions.
Guy's gonna work his ass off. He's gonna put a lot of balls in play. Good dude, great player.
Yeah,
plays well with that Franklin ball, and it was good for me to really like get there early, get a bunch of cat and mouse in, dial in the cat and mouse.
Yep.
Because I hadn't been playing a lot of cat and mouse. As you know, I've been, banging the forehand.
Working on the offense.
Working on the offense, okay? Screw the soft stuff, unless you were in Naples.
No, that has to be your base, right? You've got to feel confident with your touch there. If you're just trying to blast through people, it's probably going to be a pretty short day.
For sure. But, so I remember it was kind of funny. Wednesday morning, it's our first day of practice. I'm playing with the Franklin ball, and I just wanted to like get a feel of the conditions, the new Vanguard power. I'm using like a brand new paddle, and I'm playing with the Franklin ball. And I remember like the first couple of times, or like as we're warming up, I'm like just swinging out of my shoes. The ball is just like
just a marshmallow.
I'm like trying to get so much easy power with my hips and my legs, and I'm like trying to sit my butt down, get all this stuff going on. The ball is freaking not going anywhere. What I actually found out is that, like, in those types of conditions, with the ball being that forgiving and playing with the Franklin ball, I honestly think you can get more power by breaking your technique. And I'm not going to lie, you can break your technique with that Franklin ball and still be very consistent. I had to like break my technique and just kind of slap at it with my hand and with my forearm and not be so technique oriented, if that makes sense. And it's just with that ball being so forgiving, with the air being so thick, obviously there's certain things you can do with that Franklin ball. There's no way in hell you could do with a Dura ball. But as far as getting power, I felt like I had a hard time getting it with my hips and, you know, bigger body parts. But it was easier just to kind of break the
relax
technique
the hand a little bit more,
and just let
a little bit more motion than normally you'd have.
You know, let the hand go. But I think like the best way to describe those conditions in that Franklin ball is that like you kind of have to break your technique when you're in hand speed battles. You have to break your technique when you're driving. You know, you have to find ways to get power that maybe isn't technically sound.
Well, you have to find new ways to win. And I think, you know, one observation I wish I would have maybe clued into earlier in doubles was it's pretty hard. You know, yes, that ball's softer, so it's easier to dink. But in my opinion, it was difficult to see a lot of popped up dinks, right? And so if you're trying to beat people with little flicks or these out of the air attacks where you're trying to go through people, it's just not very effective. So it seems like the teams that actually attacked more off the bounce and started the fire off the bounce, it seemed to me like they had a little bit more success than trying to attack, you know, with that flick or misdirection out of the air. So it'll be interesting. It seems like more tournaments are going to be going to the Franklin ball. So, you know, we're going to have to adjust our tactics and the way we play a little bit. Are you a fan of that? It seems like more bigger events are going to Franklin. You okay with it at this point?
I think the level of pickleball is pretty silly with that Franklin ball, and it's much higher. I think for the non-pickleball eye that wants to watch it on TV, that wants to be interested, it doesn't veer off that much differently from the Dura, but you know, like what you said previously, like the transition from offense to defense and how quick that can go back and forth in 1 point. You know, and you know, Dura, you're having a 4-ball hand speed battle with the Franklin. It's a 6 or an 8, longer points, better defense. You know, everybody drops well, everybody dinks well. I mean, it's true. Like,
it showcases a different level of athleticism because the points are being dragged out a little bit longer.
Everybody's getting to the kitchen line. It's tough to put pressure on your opponents in transition because they're dropping so easy. You know what I mean? Like, it's tough to get gains.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, instead of it being popped up dink, point over, popped up dink, attack, reset. And so like you said, the offense and defense or who's in control will change 2 or 3 times pretty consistently within a point. I think for showcasing our sport on TV, I mean, for people just first exposure to pickleball, I think it highlights it in a good way. The ball does not favor me, I'll be honest with you. I like shortening points. I like using offense, but I think I have to take a step back and say it's good, you know, good for the game. To some degree. I will say this. I think, you know, Naples, I think East Coast, you know, I'm not sure if that slow of a ball is best, but I think definitely on the West Coast where the, you know, you're not dealing with the same humidity, that Franklin ball will make the level of play probably be showcased a little bit better.
No, it's true. I think that the tournament ran well. I think Chris and Terry did a very good job of organizing. You know, keeping things running smooth. Melissa McCurley, D. Davidson, shout out to you guys. You guys always do a splendid job of keeping matches going, keeping matches on time. I know they had like a record day on that Wednesday because I don't know if I want to get my days wrong, but I'm pretty sure it had rained. It had rained kind of all week. Jeez Louise, it was kind of a crummy week, but it rained all day Wednesday, and so they pushed matches into Thursday. Yes, people had some delays and stuff like that, but matches got done. I think they had to modify the scoring format as well. But it was a record day of like running 900 matches in one day.
Oh, geez.
Melissa McCurley put it on pickleballtournaments.com, or sorry, put it on social media that it was the first time that pbtournaments.com did that many matches in one day. Granted, I don't know if it was modified or whatever, but pretty cool.
Even still, credit to them. I mean, anytime the weather throws you a curveball like that,
and there's 2,500 players.
I don't envy the people that have to make those decisions. You're never going to make everybody happy. That's not fun.
But yeah, overall it was a party. You know, they didn't do 2 bleachers on both sides of Stadium Court or on Zing Zang Championship Court this year. They had like a wraparound VIP. Boys and girls were getting nice and rowdy. You had your 6 drink tickets a day if you bought VIP, and a couple tuna Sammies for lunch. But I believe there was a bit more showcase for dinner. Yeah, I thought Championship Court was rocking and rolling. I know they were huge sticklers this year with you had to have a ticket to be sitting in general admission, and if you're going to be in VIP, you had to buy a VIP badge.
They were on it with the
Oh,
VIP badges, man. Actually, kind of funny. This is how on it they were with the VIP. I had a couple of different people that were playing matches on Stadium Court. A ball got hit. They went out into the VIP section to retrieve it. And as they were getting the ball, they got stopped and were like, "Hey, we got to see your badge."
Hey,
like, wait a second,
show us your badge.
Show us your badge. Like, wait, I'm actually playing on court right now.
If you're even leaning over into VIP and showing your face, show me your badge.
You better show that badge.
Yeah,
you
right.
Better be right on it.
Holy snipes! I'm not gonna lie. I had a security guard come up to me, and I was getting ready to play Zane, right? And I'd already played Lung on Championship Court, and I was in VIP. Paid my $600 for VIP, and anyhow, I was talking to somebody. My bag was at a different table. The security guy comes up to me and he says, "Hey," he says, "do you have your badge?" And I'm like, "Well, it's over at my bag." And he's like, "Can you go get it for me?" So I go get it, and I walk back and I say, "Shove this up your you-know-what." I was joking, obviously. He actually got some humor out of it. But it was
you arrogant pickleball player.
It was humorous. I mean, they were the top-notch security, baby.
They were a little over the top to me.
Yeah.
And I guess if I could throw out one small criticism, I was I played singles when I got eliminated. Tyson was obviously still going. Ugh, jerk.
Right.
No. So he was getting ready to play Zane. I was able to do some coaching in the box in his semi-final against Zane.
Mention this story, please.
Yeah, and so I had all the expectation when he was going in the final with Ben that I was going to be able to have that opportunity to coach him as well. Was told that I should not have ever been in the box for the semifinal.
How dare you?
Nobody gave me the memo, and when I asked some of the people in charge, I said, well, out of curiosity, why is that I'm not allowed to be in there? They made a comparison to the U.S. Open in tennis, saying, well, coaches aren't allowed in the U.S. Open for tennis. I said, well, I'm pretty sure in nationals I saw some coaching being happening in the box, and they were like, well, you can't compare this to nationals, and I'm like, well, probably shouldn't be comparing it to tennis. So I think in general, probably a topic for all tournament directors to think about going forward at bigger events as the sport is growing, as the athletes are doing this more full time. I think coaching is going to be a part of our sport. And so I wasn't told that I wasn't able to coach. What I ended up having to do was for the finals is I had to purchase a ticket to be in the bleachers. But I think it's pretty challenging for Tyson in a 1-minute timeout to walk the opposite direction, away from his drink, away from his towel. It would have been nice to be able to offer that coaching in the finals as well. Credit to Ben. He played like a stud. But again, I just think as that becomes a bigger part of our sport, tournament directors should be prepared with how they can allow that for our athletes. I think.
I did not get VIP parking.
Oh,
because the
give me some parking. Come on,
give me some parking. That is kind of nice at nationals. If you get VIP, you get like front row parking, and
you get the whole
Nice,
spectacle.
And like the biggest pain in the ass at the U.S. Open is like if you get there late and you have to park in that.
Yeah, then you have to almost like.
And we have a child.
No. I mean, if you guys are already paying the money for VIP parking, I think would be the least that they could do for you.
But yeah, Naples was beautiful. Went down to the Naples beach one day. Took Mago down there and Bankers, and took her little playpen. God, the water there is like baby blue, and the sand is fine and white as could be, and no, it was gorgeous.
You can see why so many people retire there, right? I mean, it's just that's the life.
Sick.
That's
it's gorgeous.
Florida
down,
life.
No, for sure, it's gorgeous down there. One thing I did not like is that with my VIP and my tuna Sammies, I did not get VIP parking. I think it makes sense that in something obviously, the tennis garden and U.S. Open is two different entities, but I think it's kind of nice at at nationals. If you get VIP, you get a nice AC room. You get VIP parking, get a nice little spread. I think you even get a couple extra like general admission tickets into championship court as well.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. But anyhow, so
give these people the value. If they're
give them the
paying
value.
VIP,
I mean, step up the VIP,
step up the
or else
value.
I'm not paying my 600. Okay, I'm not. But overall results: silver in singles, lost to Benny. Played pretty sharp, I feel like, for the game and a half, and then I was gassed. I was completely gassed.
Yeah, I mean, I think the level or the style that you needed to beat him required a high level of fitness, which you showed. I mean, credit to him. He didn't give a lot away through the second half of game 2 through the final game.
He wasn't sharp game 1. Missed a couple serves, missed a couple returns. He was trying to drive, and then I think and this has happened a couple times. I'm beating him, and I'm beating him for a game and a half, and then he beats me with my own shit. With my own stuff. Okay. Prime example, Texas Open. You were there.
Yep.
I was the forehand was hot, so hot. There was no cat and mouse, and it was kind of cold that day. Banging the serve, striping forehands, finding lines like there's no tomorrow. I'm up like 11-4, 6-0. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, he's playing cat and mouse, and all of a sudden, he steals my stinking game plan, this sucker. And drives me off the court and freaking beats me in 3. And same thing happened in the U.S. Open. He's trying to drive. He's trying to,
Yeah,
but,
well, I think he came out. I mean, he came out with the wrong strategy. I think because he was trying to drive maybe a little bit too much. But yeah, like you said, he's a great tactician. He's able to feel the way a match is going, and he's got a plan A, plan B, plan C, and he can execute his game plans generally very well.
Yeah. After I lost the match, I told him. I said, hey. I'm 31 years old and you're 21 years old. I said, just to help me out a little bit, you have to at least show me when I'm suffering that you're kind of suffering.
Oh, I saw that you guys were
There's
smiling a little bit at the net. Yeah.
Plenty of respect now, but no, I let him know. I said, hey, I'm 10 years older.
Give me something.
I mean, just give me something. I mean, at least just tell me that you're somewhat tired. But I'm not gonna lie, the man puts on a great poker face, and I've really never seen him suffer.
He's pretty stoic as a competitor.
He's pretty stoic. He's seen me suffer plenty of times. But silver in singles, and then Ryan and I, not going to lie, I had visualized over and over and over again, seeing myself in the finals, and I think every great athlete, every great champ does that. Mm-hmm. You try to put yourself in the best possible spot mentally, and you see yourself in the moment. You see yourself being successful in the moment, working patterns under the lights. Anyhow, I'd already put myself in the finals Saturday night, 8 p.m. I've never played in a final at the U.S. Open. Always dreamed, playing a final, and it got freaking taken from us. God damn it!
It was one of the best. Obviously, you guys lost it, but it was one of the best match points I've seen. That they stepped it up big time to actually put you guys out. I mean, credit to Deckel. I don't know if I've seen anybody improve.
Guy's playing great
as much in doubles. His doubles game, he's flying all over the court.
We talked about him a few weeks back, or a couple episodes back, saying that upside. He's starting to dance around the Ernie, or starting to dance around the kitchen well. I mean, his footwork with his Ernie, his little half Ernie. I couldn't even freaking dink over there because the guy was earning so quick. It was tough.
He's putting it all together.
Yeah. I think if I was able to find some patterns at work, I could beat Deckel head to head a little bit. I mean, granted, I lobbed a little bit. I was a little successful with the lob, but I tried to speed up the line, tried to go at him a couple times, didn't work. Tried to dink over there. He was earning, and we Adam was playing a little too well to over suffocate Adam, and Adam did a good job going head to head with Rye, and we lost the tough one. They ended up beating us 11-8 in the third. Game one, we had a game point, 10-9, 10-9-2, had a game point, didn't seal it. Game 2, won game 2. Game 3, we're up 8-5. Actually, I think we're up 8-5. I think it's 8-5.
You guys were ahead for most of game 3. Yeah.
We're ahead all 3 games. But the toughest part is you lose that match. You're in single elimination. The thought of being in the finals is obviously gone, right?
Right.
And it's a quick turnaround. I mean, we're 4 minutes later, they freaking boot us right back on there after we just had the freaking heart taken out of us on stadium court. 4 minutes later, we're right back on playing Nunnery and Cassidy. Yeah. Luckily, the referee didn't show up for about 20 minutes because I'm not going to lie. If it would have been any earlier, there could have been a very good chance that Rye and I just go in the dump. I made sure to tell Rye before the match. I said, hey, any guilt thought or just any negative nonsense, let's push it out. Let's get the bronze. We didn't come here not to get hardware.
For sure.
We're
you got to switch gears real fast.
You got to
swallow that disappointment quick, because you still had to win a couple more tough matches to get some hardware.
Prime example, Jay and Pat. Not gonna lie, I thought they were gonna win in 2. Winners bracket semi. They're playing Ben and Colin, and Jay and Pat win game 1. Yep. Ben and Colin win game 2. It's tight game 3. I think Jay and Pat are up like 8-6 game 3, and I'm not gonna lie, Colin played well. Colin played well towards the end. Granted, the last 4 points, Ben took over, but Colin blocked well. And then one thing he was doing well, he was speeding up out of the air, and Jay was taking over. Pat, Jay kind of slid Pat over. Pat, still doing his thing, but Jay was kind of taking over, as with Ben. And with him moving around so much and being so active, Colin, I think it was a great move, but Colin kind of caught him moving and caught him trying to be active, and was speeding up high, in his shoulders, and would just kind of throw stuff up here, give him a little chin music. And I think the speed ups were actually going out. Easier said than done. But and Colin ended up beating Jay head to head a couple times. And then once he beat Jay head to head a couple times, Jay stopped moving, and then Ben freaking sunk his teeth in. And that's all she wrote.
They've played him.
That's all she wrote.
Close a few times.
Close,
it's going to be a heartbreaker. But
a
great little teaching moment. Anytime your opponents are moving quite a bit, if you can disguise an attack, just the likelihood that they're going to have a big thumping counterattack coming back is decreased. So a great little thing to look for when you're deciding when to speed up.
Yeah, no, for sure. Or like Colin's approach. If somebody's taking over and being aggressive, the best way to put them back in their little cage on their side of the court is by speeding up a little bit and just keeping them honest, right?
Yeah.
And kind of
not necessarily dinking back behind, right? But disguising a speed up where they're having to cover too many spots. Again, if you can just decrease the strength of that counter punch a little bit, you can sit on that recounter, which we talk about.
For sure. And then Jay and Pat ended up losing that.
Who ended up getting them in the?
I could tell it was 8-all game 3, and you could see the look on Jay's face. Jay, I love you to death, brother, but but you do not have a poker face.
Right. He wears his heart on his sleeve.
Oh my God! I mean, you could see just the emotion and the energy just draining out of him. That's all she wrote. And they ended up playing. They played right away. They ended up playing Matt Wright and.
Matt and Kyle. That's a tough.
And they lost 15-2.
Oh, geez.
Quick.
Yeah, they just...
Prime example of...
Couldn't get it back.
Momentum dump or adrenaline dump. It's tough. Honestly, if you don't get your act together and wash all that nonsense out, you will not be at your best. Let's just say that. You know what I mean?
Mental toughness is, it's way more than physical, especially, and you lose, you're disappointed. Like you said, you don't have a lot of time to refocus. I know I've made that mistake after some bad losses and then turn right around and have an even worse loss because I'm still thinking about my last match.
And then bronze played with Lee Waters. Mixed ended up taking bronze in men's. Played a crazy match against Yates and Wright in the finals. We're up 8-0 game 3. All of a sudden, Kyle goes on a highlight reel. He's got one shoe on it at one point. He's grunting as he's lobbing, and all of a sudden he's coming in and crashing. It was a circus.
You went from up 8-0 in game 3 to down 9-8.
Oh my gosh!
With a guy that a moment ago was
cramping,
right?
I mean, the writing is on the wall, and all of a sudden the guy pulls some stuff out of his what. And luckily, we ended up closing it out. I got the ATP on match point.
That was a pretty nice little
highlight reel to finish. Take a little slice of the pie. And then ended up playing mixed doubles the next day with Lee Waters, who by far is the biggest badass 40-year-old that I know. I mean, she's tough,
mentally
she's
tough,
gritty.
Gal right there. Yeah,
she can grind. I'm not gonna lie. There's so many people telling me, "Hey, Lee's not gonna do this with the Franklin ball. She's gonna be nothing with the Franklin ball." Yada yada yada. She was fine. She was great. She was great.
She had a long day.
She held me down all day. Yeah, we ended up losing early. Who did we lose to? Okay, we lost to Callan and Irina, who we should not lose to. Ended up losing to them. Won 6 in a row in the back draw. Beat a bunch of good teams. Played Wright and Kovalova, and the bronze. Ended up losing that. But no, I mean, yeah, it wasn't the results that I wanted. Obviously happy to walk away with a silver and a bronze, and then I guess just happy to be in 3 medal matches as well. You know, I'm still be in that top 3 category. So overall fun tournament. But no, it was definitely nice to get out of. I mean, after like 10 days of being in Naples and literally just being drenched wet all day and having to change my wardrobe literally after each match. Like, after each match, it was change of socks, change of underwear, change of shorts. I mean, everything. I was just
You're sweating just standing still,
I was just soaked
right?
mess. God, yeah. But Monica Seles.
I did not get the pleasure to get a picture and meet Monica Seles, but I saw a couple of other pros did. So it's kind of cool that we're seeing some of these tennis greats start to peek their eyes at pickleball and be seen at some of these events. So I'm sure there's going to be more of that as the sport continues to grow. So pretty cool.
Want to give a shout out to Ben Johns and Rob Nunnery. They have a new podcast called Freestyle, sponsored by Franklin. So check that out. It's on Spotify. But I really want to let Ben know he should really stay in his lane. Okay. First it was me on Cameo, and then it was him. First it was me posting instructional videos. Now he's got his Pickleball 360. First it was me with the podcast. Now Freestyle's around. I mean, quit it.
You're just a trendsetter.
I mean,
Tyson.
quit it. All right. No, all good. All good. There's plenty of love to go around. Plenty of demand for content. I'll tell you what, pickleball junkies want content all day.
So maybe shout out to Selkirk. I mean, they're doing their Selkirk TV.
Selkirk TV.
They're seeing the direction, the way everything's going. Yeah, really smart.
Yeah,
smart.
And the only real platform where it's one-stop shopping. You can check out anything pickleball related, live stream, podcast, instructional videos.
And they've got it set up to where all of it can be on the TV as well. I think it's the
little app,
Fire Stick and
Roku and all that fun stuff. Yeah, pretty cool. I'm meeting with them next week to kind of go over more of that.
Yeah, I'm excited to see more rollout from them.
Yeah, very exciting. Gonna go into some questions from the viewers from our last episode. Let's see. Justin Oliver, what's up, man? Do you ever make it anywhere around Iowa? We have Smash Park here, and Zane and Johnson Cola just stopped out our way. Got to get some time to play with them. Would love to meet you and take a clinic. I'm not going anywhere that Zane and John went. Okay, I'm not. Okay, I mean, get real. No, I'm just kidding. I would love to come to Iowa.
Yeah, heck yeah.
I'm a big Dan Gable fan. Dan Gable is a wrestler for Iowa Hawkeyes back in the day.
He was the undefeated.
His
whole
NCAA champ guy. Was freaking tough as nails. If you, I'm taking request-based camps for 2022. We're all jam-packed for this year. You can email info@tysonmcguffin.com. Get me 16 to 32 campers, and Kyle and I will make our way over.
We'll come on down. Yeah, would love to come out. Not familiar with Smash Park. I don't know if that's like a standard club or like a kind of like a chicken and pickle, but yeah, I would love to check it out.
Okay. Excuse me if I say your name wrong. Mervat Amin. That could be very wrong. It is worth to put the time. Is it worth to put the time and effort to learn how to hit a two-handed backhand? What do you think?
I think it's a longer term thing if you've been playing for a while. So I used a two-handed backhand in tennis. When I found pickleball, no one was using one, and so I kind of got really dialed in and programmed to do everything with a one-hander. I know for me, I would like to get a little bit more power on my backhand punch in some of those faster exchanges. So I have been dabbling with adding a two-hander. Just speaking for me personally, it is a longer process just because, again, I've kind of programmed some of those instincts in those fast exchanges to stay with one. But I'm definitely, as I'm teaching my children to play pickleball, I've got one son who's all about it. I am definitely teaching the two-hander. I think that you get a little bit more reach to the side. You can play really good, solid defense by putting a second hand on the paddle and absorbing power. And I think that you get a little bit more power because you can get more rotation on those counterpunching shots. So I think there's a time and a place to use it that does not come with all advantages. You lose some reach out front. But I think if I'm training someone to be a pickleball pro, 10, 15 years from now, like I'm envisioning, theoretically for one of my kids, I would think both would be the way to go, is what I would envision. I mean, even look at Ben Johns at times. He'll throw that second hand on the paddle.
Scott Moore's been playing for how long? The guy just added a two-hander in?
Yep, I think there's some subtle advantages. Definitely, you got to practice it quite a bit to get it ready for match play, because there's times where you'll use two hands, I would say, incorrectly, or where one hand is optimal. But I think definitely worth the time.
If you can find a better answer than that, let me know.
Boom.
I'm not gonna touch.
I'm not gonna touch it. He's sticking with the one-hander. Okay. It works. It works for you. Right?
You know what I live by? Don't hit a backhand. Okay, just live and die by the forehand.
Find that fear hand.
Okay. Let's see here. Kyle mentioned what he did while playing with people lower in their level to play with him. But what can I do when I don't get a ball except when they can slam it at me? Yeah, it's tough. I would actually, I have a prime answer, or two answers. The first one is try to insert yourself by, I guess taking more court, talking to your partner beforehand, making sure that they allow you to take more court. But I think if you're looking to take more court, just justify that with your partner. Mm-hmm. Second option could be go to pickleplay.com, download the app, and find level-specific play in your area. You can go on the app, you can make groups, you can create events. I think this app is widely used for players that are in your position that don't see a lot of balls, or maybe that are at a typical, park with, 6 courts. There's people waiting. Levels are all over. Nobody really knows what they're doing. There's no, paddle system. It's not very organized. Pickle play essentially is for the, player that is looking to play tournaments, that wants better play, that wants to set up their own groups, that that doesn't want to hang out with some of the chaos, if you know what I mean.
Well, I think the direction that the game's going, and I think this is okay. It's still, pickleball will still be an inclusive sport where not everyone has to be the same level to play against each other. But when you're drilling, when you're trying to use those valuable hours that we all have in our busy schedules to try to improve, I think it's really important to be able to play with someone that's a comparable level so that you're getting something out of it. So there's already quite a few users, subscribers on Pickle Play, but I expect that number to really start to jump and grow just as pickleball grows
right now.
Yeah. And so, great answer. And obviously it's frustrating when you don't get the ball hit to you, but like Tyson said, if you can have that conversation maybe early on with your partner and just say, hey, listen, I'd like to get something out of this as well. It seems like they're trying to keep it away from me. Would you be all right if I crowd
Not
you?
always a fun.
It's you have to deliver it very delicately, but say, I'm not trying to crowd you. I'm just trying to get involved a little bit, and hopefully that goes over in a decent way. But it's not fun. It's not fun when
it's a very touchy subject.
For sure.
Okay. I believe, is that your wife there?
Not yet, but yeah,
we are actually going to Silverwood after this, taking the whole clan, or Kyle's kids are already there. My kids are here right now, but Silverwood's a fun amusement park, about 10 minutes north.
Have a fun little Saturday.
Fun little Saturday. Okay, so this is from Kento, 1957. Love the advice for coaching. Questions. For a 4.0 to 4.5 level player in a 2-hour drill session, what specific drills do you recommend and how much time on each? How do you prepare for a tournament? Specifically, what drills do you do and how much time do you spend doing them weekly, daily? Another one is, do you think family camp obligations has impacted your training and consequence tournament performance? I like it. Okay, so first question, what specific drills do you recommend and how much time on each? Yeah, so we kind of have a set program. We do a little dynamic warm up once we get to the courts, get our body warm up like a professional, and then dink both ways cross, dink up the line. I kind of use my little 5 to 10 minute tournament warm up as kind of like my rec play warm up, and then I would say that. If there's something lacking, I think it's very situational. Yeah, this is kind of broad. If there's something lacking in my game, like I'm always looking to, I would say, tie like 60% of the practice or 70% of the practice around that area. For example, I'm still working on my counterpunch. I feel like I'm at the top of the game with dinking. I'm at the top of the game with defense. I'm just more so looking to get some more added punch on my volleys. I'm not gonna lie. I've been doing a lot of situational games and drills that have to do with hand speed. And for example, we for as far as drilling, we do forehand to forehand, backhand to backhand volley, body to body, or zone 4 to zone 4, zone 1 to zone 1, zone 2 and 3, back and forth. And then from there, some of the games that I actually like doing when it comes to hand speed, it's a little elementary. And anytime that I bring this up in a camp, I usually get kind of weird looks because people probably aren't used to feeding a speed up from a very stationary spot. But like the perfect game that I use for hand speed is like I'll have Kyle acting as the attacker. I'm acting as the counter attacker. Kyle essentially, there's two ways. If Kyle wants like a dink in front of him, I can feed a dink and then he can speed up off the bounce. Then we play it out from there. Or the drill that I like better is he just feeds for himself and he could use the phrase of bounce, apex, speed up. On the apex, he's going to speed up and then we just play it out from there. But something that I do, I'm working on my hand speed. I would say 70% of my training right now is all devoted to, being quicker with my reactions, seeing the ball better, seeing the ball in detail, looking at the holes, looking at the seam, but just trying to get better in that specific area. So I think it's a little situational, but I guess like to wrap all that around, if you are working on something in your game, let's spend 60 to 70% of your training focused, I guess, under that umbrella. That kind of makes sense to me. You also mentioned what do I do as far as drilling and gameplay before tournaments. I would say ratio of gameplay to drilling before tournaments is probably 80% gameplay to 20% drilling. I feel like the week leading up into the tournament, I shouldn't be focused on technique. I shouldn't be trying to add things to my game. Right. I shouldn't be trying to reinvent the wheel.
Trying to sharpen what you have.
It's more so tactical based. It's putting myself in pressure scenarios. It's getting my mind right. It's making sure that my wife and I are on good terms. I feel like hey,
get your relationship.
Well, I mean, shit.
I get it.
I mean, if things are good with her and I, and the kids are good, and everybody's happy, it kind of seems like I play better. So I'm
happy wife, happy life.
I actually stress like mental health going into tournaments, and just like being happy, being confident. Having things going well at home. Right. But I would say leading up to tournaments, it's probably 80% gameplay to 20% drill. Outside of that, if I'm not gearing up for a tournament, or if I have 3 weeks to kind of get geared up for a tournament, I would say those 2 weeks before, it's probably going to be heavy drilling to gameplay. Maybe it's 70-30, but just the week leading up, I would say it's 80-20. It's a lot more pressure scenario, live situational games, but just getting my mind right, getting my tactics right, and more so just like what Kyle said, kind of sharpening things. Kyle?
I would say quicker answer I would say would be 4.0 plus to me when I'm doing drills and coming up with drills for my students. I think you're the level now where you're advanced, where I think definitely, like Tyson said, you need to always spend a good amount of time at the kitchen line, just working on your dinking, doing competitive dinking games. You can never get too good there, and it's so important to be confident there. But in addition to that, if you're back in the transition or baseline, I'm a big fan of coming up with drills where you vary speeds. So you maybe drive one, drop the next, or you block one, counterpunch the next. So getting used to or simulating that aggressive temperament, or finding opportunities for aggression within that patient game, and being able to on a dime switch mindsets into offensive mode, or in a dime switch mindsets into more of a defensive mode was what I would advise for gameplay, for drilling on the more advanced levels.
Okay. Last question here was, do you think family and camp obligations have impacted your training and consequence tournament performance? I want to say no, but I think we all know that with having kids, with running a business, there's a lot going on. My wife especially wears a lot of hats. I wear a couple. She wears about 10. So, so with that being said, yeah, you know, I would say it's probably not a huge benefit to my game, but I'm kind of looking at this from a long-term factor where, you know, I wanted to be the first one to have a really professional podcast. I wanted to be the, you know, I guess first individual player to have a badass camp company. So I think I was, you know, looking outside of just performance, right. You know, and grew up with 6 siblings. There's 7, you know, obviously 7 total. So I kind of grew up with a big family. Always wanted a big family. I don't want to be, you know, 60 years old when my kids are, you know, 10 years old. So with that being said, it made sense to kind of get things rolling and kind of get the family started, get the business started and stuff like that. Really kind of get a jump start on things. But now that I, you know, have my bearings, we've you know, we're building the YouTube channel. We're, you know, in the first year of the camp company. Things are going well. Camp numbers are good. I feel like now I've kind of got all my ducks in a row. Now I can kind of, I guess, point back to or just work harder in the sense of being in the gym more, you know, spending more time on court, things of that nature. Because I'm not gonna lie, you know, the last 8 months has been a building phase of running a new business, you know, getting the YouTube channel kind of off the ground, and just, you know, doing things that are probably not as beneficial to my play.
Yeah, I would say similar for myself. It's just you know, been about a year since I've gone full-time pickleball, and so to some degree just getting used to, well, what does that mean? What does that career look like? Getting used to the schedule and the traveling. Obviously, what pays the bills for somebody in my shoes who's not the top, you know, 3 or so player like Tyson is going to be the teaching. So put a lot of my mental passion into that. I'll admit I think my game has been stagnant for a little bit, and so I'm pretty motivated to address that as well. But to a certain degree, you know, when you're focused on teaching, yeah, sometimes you forget, you know, to be adding and to making sure that that your own game is as sharp. So it's, you know, it's just another obstacle like we all have.
Yeah, for sure. But yes. Something I have noticed in the last 3 months with, like, you know, being so involved with my family and having kids and working with my wife. My wife runs my business. She runs her business. She obviously does a lot. One thing I know for sure, like what I mentioned previously, is when her and I see eye to eye, when you know, her and I are working as a team, not only does it benefit my business, it benefits my game. It benefits everything in life. So
it's all connected.
Yeah, no, for sure. That definitely hits home to me. Let's see, a couple more questions here. Could you talk about the concept? Sorry, this is from MJD. Ty, could you talk about the concept of you have more time than you think? I heard you say it in some of your videos, but could you explain it in terms of gameplay? What situations where we may have more time than we think? I have plenty of scenarios. The first scenario is when Ben is eating me up head to head, and I know the speed up is coming, and I'm not staying home, and I'm like so premature with my guess, and I'm like, my hands are everywhere,
you're falling out
fumbly,
forward,
right. If I just took my sweet time and kept my hands in a good ready position, and I stayed home with my hands, and I watched the ball longer, and I, plain and simple, if I just wait and give myself an extra second and not jump out of ready position so quick, I will recognize that I have a lot more time than I think, and I can volley better, I can see the ball better. And I guess in that context, when I stay home and I wait longer, the ball comes in juicy, it's got veins on it, right? And it's got my name on it, and I see it right away. When I'm quick to like leave home early, or if I'm like premature with my ready position and I guess, the ball's like the size of a grape and I don't see the speed up coming. So I think if that makes sense. Another example is, you know, when you feel pressure, you know, if somebody's not comfortable hitting their third shot drop, they're going to hit their third shot drop and they're going to take off versus saying, hey, I have plenty of time to, you know, gain real estate in transition. I don't have to rush. I can look at the ball trajectory, or I can look to see where the returner is making contact. But I guess 2 things that like make sense to me is that when somebody's uncomfortable in a select area, they feel like they have no time.
Yep.
You know, another example is I went surfing in Orange County. Okay. And I'm on the surfboard, and you know I was never on the surfboard. I tried to freaking get on the goddamn surfboard, but no, I'm riding the wave, and I get up. I barely get up, but if I just let the wave carry me like an extra 2 seconds, and I get up a little later, I will actually get up. But I was so premature with my stand up, and I was so quick to get up because I didn't recognize how much time I had.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's just so true. Like if you're uncomfortable with something, like you feel naturally rushed and you feel pressure, and with feeling pressure, you feel like you have no freaking time.
Well, and in regards to hand speed battles, I think something about, yes, it's up tempo, but you can still be relatively relaxed.
Yeah.
Like you said, to be relaxed, you're going to be able to wait for that ball to get into you a little bit more. I think sometimes we know we need to get extension to meet the ball out front. I know for me, when I get jumpy or panicky, I'm way too far out in front because I'm not relaxing. I'm not realizing I have a little bit more time to allow myself to react rather than guess and get a little bit jumpy.
Right. Okay, so that is it for questions. There was a couple more, but I'm sorry we cannot get to all those. Okay, so a couple of tips for coaches here. Something that I used to use in tennis, and something that I would use still if I was teaching a lot of private lessons in my area is, for example, like let's say I had 40 privates in 1 week, right? 40 freaking privates is a lot of privates. That's like essentially 40 presentations, right? 40 different presentations,
that's a lot.
right? So if you try to reinvent the wheel on all 40 presentations, towards the end of the week, the level of teaching will not get good. Okay, if that makes sense. So something that I used to do is I would have one theme for the week. Now, granted, if Sally comes in and Sally wants to work on her offense, I'm not gonna have Sally like use the theme that I've been using all week. So, for example, let's say I've got 10 privates on Monday, 6 on Tuesday, and 10 on Wednesday. Right? I got 3 days of just packed lessons. I'm gonna stick to one theme. And with that being said, I'm going to tie my lessons around defensive tactics or defensive fundamentals, where it's going to be a lot of transition work. It's going to be a lot of stuff where just my student has to learn how to scramble, or has to learn how to neutralize. But I think if you can stick with one theme, for me, my level of teaching and my drills and how creative I was got a hell of a lot better towards the end of the week.
No, for
got
sure.
a lot better. And the drills and the teaching that I did on Monday, not only did I do them on Monday, but I did them on Friday, and they were twice as good on Friday. Why? Because I'm like in the mode of teaching the same stuff, and with that, I guess just having the mindset of like, being under the umbrella of talking about defensive tactics, I got a lot more creative throughout the week, and I was able to use different keywords that register differently to people. So I like that idea. And then my other little fun tip was something that we just did like at the Kansas City camp, and something that I didn't used to like doing, but I think it holds value. Daniel Roditi has been doing a bunch of stuff at Nellie Gale. Nellie Gale is a club in San Clemente, but it's just these old kind of fun king of the court style like tennis drills.
Yep.
Where you have a challenger side, you have a king side. It's super energetic. You have a coach feeding. You can even do it where you have 6 people on 2 courts. The coach stands in the middle on 2 courts, and the coach feeds to both courts. That way you can manage. This is probably not IPTPA and PPR guidelines, but hey, you can manage 12 people at one time in a very high energy setting.
Yep.
But I was for example, let's say that the topic is speed ups, let's say the topic is third ball drops, right? So let's say that the challenger side is back at the baseline. There's 4 people back there, 2 people up, and then 2 people back behind them. And the other side is the king side. It takes 2 points in a row to get over on the king side. Super simple. One of the toughest part about camps is like a cooperative feed, and something that we talked about previously is that you should always feed off the bounce. But in this particular exercise, we have a challenger side, we have a king side. The challengers basically play 1 point. If they win the point, they stay in. If they win both, then they're over to the king side. But I just feed in a return. They have to hit a drop, and then we just play it out from there. And then what's cool is that if they win both points, after they win both points, and they're coming around, you could even like call out 3, 2, 1, and just keep it fun, keep it, you know what I mean, like keep the energy high. But I've been using that like team game progression. I've been using that team game with the last progression of the game portion. So for example, we'll do like a half court drop game. We'll do a full court drop game, and then we'll piggyback it with like a team king of the court style game. That way you kind of have 3 different progressions.
Yeah, I think it's a great break from the monotony of just, talking and explaining. And I guess my tip, to piggyback on that would just be, one thing I've learned with doing these camps is I can get into a mode where, I'm geeking out on strategy and talking and all that. But the reality is all of us only take in a certain percentage of information when everything's new being thrown at you. So understand that as a coach, it's important for you to always maintain that positive high energy. It's the one thing that you can always control. And, we all play this game for different reasons. So different people are going to lean more towards the fun social aspect than just I have to get from a 3.5 to a 4.0, or I have to get better. So if you can stay fun and energetic, keep it light at times, that'll help you relate to everybody rather than just falling in love with simply, working on the drill and explaining everything. So I think there's a fine line where as a coach, it's your job to bring and maintain that energy at all times.
Yeah, it's so true. And, there's plenty of pros out there that think that just bringing their presence and showing up is good enough.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie, I would rather take energy and effort over somebody who is very qualified, that just thinks that they're overqualified and that just simply shows up.
Yeah, like a monotone qualified.
For
That's
sure.
not going to do it for anybody, right? So you want to bring a certain amount. And I think I've said this before. I don't have the natural charisma. I'm not the natural extrovert that Tyson is. And I know I can fall in that category of being more of the professor or geeking out. So I make a conscious effort every time I teach a camp, every time I teach a lesson, to bring that lighthearted self or side of me, because I think it's a little bit more relatable. So if it's not something that you are doing, know that it is possible.
No, for sure. And I mean, if you've taken a camp from Kyle, within 20 minutes, you will understand how much this guy loves pickleball. I mean, talks with so much enthusiasm, loves the sport. You can totally tell he geeks out. He's a junkie for the sport. And I think customers that are paying a select price point want to come, and they want to know that the pro is fully energized, and they're like enthused, and they love pickleball, and they're, loving everybody at the camp. I mean, that goes such a long way. So if you're in a boat where maybe you don't bring a lot of energy, fake it till you make it, baby.
Heck yeah.
That stuff totally sells.
And the more you do fake it, right, the more it just becomes kind of your natural self. So again, I just think it's an important part. If that's something that's not natural for you, you can improve in that category too.
For sure. Instructional Nugget. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, so kind of one thing that I've seen as a pattern, we talk about in our program that, red zone balls, yellow zone balls, green zone balls. Yellow zone's kind of that in-between ball where maybe it's a slight mistake from your opponent, but you still want to be aggressive. One thing that I've noticed as a pattern is a lot of people will miss those yellow zone balls in the tape, in the net. And to me, it really comes out to intent. We want to have our intent with a yellow zone ball of, yes, being aggressive, yes, looking to punish our opponents for that mistake, but we don't want to have that idea of finish the ball off. When we start thinking finish the ball on a small mistake, subconsciously we start to aim down and think at their feet when really the pop-up isn't big enough. So remember, the bigger the pop-up, the more we can aim down. But on just a small pop-up in that yellow zone, we want to be aggressive but think we're starting that firefight rather than that expectation of finishing that first ball.
Like it. So 2 tells that are going to tell you when to come in off a drop. Lower levels, if you're not as comfortable hitting your drop, you're probably not comfortable looking at ball trajectory, and that is totally fine. But obviously you should be looking to get to that point.
Yep.
So lower levels, you're probably going to look to see where your opponent makes contact once they get up and established. So if you see them making contact in the red zone, whether it's out of the air or it's off the bounce, you should be looking to come in, gain real estate, gain distance, maybe even come all the way up. If you see a lower, and let's say lower levels, like 3 or 3.5. Yeah. Let's say this 3.5 doesn't have a roll volley, okay? If you find that they are hitting a ball out of the air in yellow, but they're hitting up, let's say it's like in between red and yellow, right? It's not green and yellow, it's red and yellow.
Okay.
If they're still hitting up, I would say come in and crash, because they're not going to hurt you. I mean, it's tough.
Yep.
It's tough to punch a volley and to get enough on it as you're hitting up with no topspin. Right?
For sure.
Now, if they're able to punch through, maybe they're in green and yellow, and they're either punching through or they're hitting down. There's nothing wrong with buying yourself time, staying back. Know that you can play good defense if you have time. You know that you can defend if you have time. Take a look at the Newmans, a prime example. So I think, just be very selective on when you come in, and know that there's no rush. Something that DJ Howard says, and something that I totally stole, is that you should not chase trash. Don't chase trash. Or I used to say this a lot. I don't say it anymore. Do you want to be brave or smart? Okay, brave says, hey, I'm gonna trust these hands, baby. I'm gonna pop it up. I'm gonna trust these hands. Smart saying, hey,
get the heck back. Buy yourself some time.
Yeah, right. If you're using a GX5, pop it up and come in, baby. Not. And then higher level, good disconnectors, good poachers. Take a look at Callie Smith. Take a look at Rye. Take a look at Ben. Anybody that disconnects well, or anybody that bakes off of their own shake, they're looking at ball trajectory, they're gaining real estate, and they're getting in. So I would say next progression would be looking at ball trajectory, and then that way you can gain distance a little quicker and get your butt in there. All right, guys, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn those notifications on to the McGuffin Pickleball Club YouTube channel. Want to give a big shout out to Hellebay or Jasper, Steve Taylor, Carl Schmitz, PPA, everybody that gave me content for this episode. Hope you guys have a great day. We will tune back in here in about a week. We got Atlanta PPA coming up here in a couple weeks. And episode 15, we'll be touching on Atlanta PPA, camp in Atlanta, and then stuff going on this summer. But my name is Tyson McGuffin. This is The McGuffin Show. Thanks for tuning in.